The Zelda team has done it once again, taking what we as fans know to be true and turning it on its head. Together with Koei Techmo, the Zelda team has created what seems to be a canon spin-off title dubbed Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity. With that, the Zelda drought has finally come to an end, giving us plenty of content to obsess over in the coming weeks. Of course, as with every new Zelda announcement, we need to crack into this thing and break it down piece by piece. Let's see what might be hiding in this trailer. To begin, the Zelda god, Aonuma, explains that due to the scope of Breath of the Wild 2's world, the Zelda team still needs more time before showing off their project to the world. However vague it may be, I'm still glad we finally got some type of update on the game's development. Aonuma then cuts into the announcement of Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity. Roll the trailer, please. It starts with the combination of both Impa and King Rhoam's explanation of Calamity Ganon and the events that took place 100 years before Breath of the Wild. What's interesting here is that while this all looks familiar, these are recreations of the original clips shown in Breath of the Wild. Seeing the destruction caused by Calamity Ganon from all new vantage points gives us a better understanding of the amount of damage that was caused so long ago. Pausing during the transition into King Rhoam's voice, we can see Hyrule Castle in its former glory. It's gonna be a blast exploring what all we can of this place, if at all. Don't let us down, Nintendo. Moving on, we come to the legend himself, our boy Link. In this shot, we see him rocking the soldier's armor while proudly raising up what I believe to be a soldier's broadsword, judging by the hilt. Given that he's standing next to two wooden posts, I'd say he's probably training in this cutscene. After this, we see Zelda approaching a doorway in her royal attire, looking quite uneasy about what's about to happen. Bam! The battle begins. The trailer jumps to the Sacred Ground ruins, where we witness a battalion of Hylian soldiers rushing in on hordes of enemies. Cannon fire goes off to the left and right before quickly zooming in on the battlefield. If you look closely, you can see Link leading the rest of the soldiers into the fight. Blast after blast, the camera moves through the bodies of dead bokoblins and then comes out on the other side, showing Link once again at the front of the pack, rushing a moblin head-on. Pausing here, we see Link is decked out in style with matching gear. Here he's equipped with a soldier's shield, broadsword, and the greaves to go along with his armor. A funny thing to point out is that right before this, we see the moblin clobber some of his own soldiers in the process of fighting off the Hylians. I guess moblins just don't give a damn. I mean, look at that battle cry. Cooling down from that heated situation, we come to a scene of both Mipha and Zelda observing the Sheikah Slate. Oh yeah, and Link just so happens to be lurking in the back right here. As for what these two might be doing, I'm certain it has something to do with Vah Ruta, as they are definitely in Zora's domain, which is given away by not only Mipha, but also this bit of stone situated behind Link, which is identical to those found around Zora's domain. Boy, does this game look good, oh my god. Following that, we move on to what might be Link and Ravioli putting on the old gloves to see who's really the best. Jokes aside, these two must be going all out during some type of training regimen. Knowing them, I bet they're both trying to show off for Princess Zelda. I don't know about you, but that looks like a dead-on headshot to me. Anyways, bokoblins, Lizalfos, and moblins, oh my. In this next sequence, at least 20 plus enemies come cruising up the west side of the Sacred Ground ruins. While they're all low-level enemies, there's a flippin' ton of them. No wonder the Royal Guard situated cannons all over. Knowing that, let's quickly take a peek at this location in the future. Most of the trees to the left have been destroyed and some of the landscape has changed, not by much, but you get my point. Enough of that, back to the trailer. Here's a bit I wish was actually in Breath of the Wild. See how Link throws the bombs here? Please make this a reality in Breath of the Wild 2, Nintendo. By the way, speaking of bombs, did you notice? Link is using the Sheikah bombs without the slate on his hip. Most of you must be thinking this is odd, and I wouldn't blame you. From what I gather, Age of Calamity's gameplay will be non-canon, allowing us to use things like the Sheikah bombs without the slate. This gives us more options with gameplay while allowing the developers the freedom to make a proper Warriors game in the process. Digging deeper, we come to King Rhoam giving orders to his army right before Calamity Ganon's attack. It's astonishing how many brave people lost their lives that fateful day, this only showing a small portion of that. Stopping directly after the shot of the army, we get a glimpse at Link, Zelda, and possibly a new character standing out front of Hyrule Castle's second gatehouse. The new character will come into play in just a moment, so I'll cover that in a sec. Besides her, both Link and Zelda have made a wardrobe change here. Zelda is in her sacred attire and Link is in his champion's tunic. If I had to guess, I would say this is when Link and Zelda decide to flee the castle to live another day. Zooming out, we see at this point Calamity Ganon has engulfed the entire castle. It's time for the team to get the hell out. During that moment, Zelda looks up in awe to see pillars rise up from beneath Hyrule Castle, revealing malice-infested guardians. One by one, they drop to set fire to the Kingdom of Hyrule. Remember that character? Well, here she is again being addressed by King Rhoam with both Link and Zelda. This has to either be Impa or Purah, though honestly the hat kinda makes me lean towards Impa a little bit more. As we know via in-game text featured in Breath of the Wild, both Purah and Impa were Zelda's fellow researchers before the Calamity, working side by side to study ancient technology. It's possible that either of the two sisters were appointed as a backup advisor/guard for Zelda in the event Link was ever to fail or be overpowered. Seeing as both of them were fairly young around this time period, I think either of them would be the right fit for the job. I'm calling it now. I bet whoever it is, she looks exactly like Paya. Blasting off from that point, we come to cannon fire being launched from the castle walls, which then transitions into a beautiful shot of these creepy stall enemies. Ganon pulled out all of the stops for his return, now didn't he? Imagine the calm before the storm. You've cut down all of Ganon's forces only to have them reanimate right before your very eyes. Boy, this game is about to get dark. Skipping past the undead is a red Lynel. Perhaps the very same red Lynel that used to terrorize Ploymus Mountain way back when. Yet, instead of Link taking it down, Zelda is the one fighting him this time around. And she's using the Sheikah Slate to perform stasis. Another perfect example of how the gameplay won't be canon to the plot of this title. Still, it's pretty dope and gives us some insight to Zelda's abilities in this Warriors game. The next set of scenes feature Mipha going toe-to-toe with a Guardian and Urbosa facing off against the Yiga clan. As to be expected, both of these characters will be wielding powers associated with their divine beasts. Mipha using water and Urbosa using electricity at will. I'm highly interested to see each of their respective movesets. Besides that, it looks as though at one point Gerudo Desert was attacked by a rather large group of Yiga. Who knows at this point if it's just a gameplay section or actually happened canonically. Following up Urbosa's gameplay is a shot of the 5 champions right before setting off to face Calamity Ganon. Little did they know, each of them were rushing to their deaths. Vah Rudania patrolling Death Mountain comes into frame, transitioning into a group of Zora soldiers fighting off bokoblins and moblins from Zora's domain. Not much to see other than the graphical improvement here. Still, it's good to know we'll be fighting alongside so many different races in Hyrule. After that, both gameplay of Daruk and Ravioli is shown. Daruk can be seen helping support the Akkala Citadel from an oncoming Hinox, while Ravioli is busy taking care of a buttload of bokoblins using bomb arrows to blow him out of the water. Him wielding that bow is going to be insane. Next, we see Link struggling to block an attack from a thunder weapon, most likely a thunder spear. Again, he's wearing the champion's tunic and is wielding the master sword. Based off this, I would say this is probably on their way to or from Hyrule Castle when Calamity Ganon made his return. From here, we see clips of each of the remaining champions struggling in battle with the Blights. Urbosa bested inside Vah Naboris, Mipha looking helpless, Daruk being Thanos-snapped, and Ravioli struggling to take aim. Seeing this gave me the chills. We're going to witness the very deaths of the 4 champions. Super dark. The trailer comes to a close with a shot of Link and Zelda being fired at by a Guardian just before leaving Hyrule Castle's front entrance. They both stop to take a look back, and the camera zooms in for one last shot of Calamity Ganon flying above Hyrule Castle, accompanied by his infamous Blood Moon. The title is shown, and shortly after, we see Zelda tearing up just before she's swallowed by Calamity Ganon, uttering her final words for 100 years.
I must protect everyone.
During the original announcement video, Aonuma went on about additional story details that I won't be covering here, as I feel that would just be overdone. For those that would like to know what was said, I've left a link in the description below for your convenience. Instead, we'll be fast forwarding to the artwork revealed for the game at the end, as it's basically the only thing with new information. Skipping to the artwork, we can see everything looks to be normal, except this guy right here. What the heck is this monstrosity? A pet guardian? I'm naming mine Frank. Taking it more seriously, this thing kind of looks like a walking Centrobe from Skyward Sword. It'd be hilarious if this guardian turns out to be the one tagging along to feed you tips during your journey, a companion of sorts. Or it could be an evil death machine plotting to turn on you the second Calamity Ganon rears his ugly head. Who knows? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Don't forget, we have an update coming for this game on September 26th. I'll be covering any and all news related to this game's release. Stay tuned. So, what do you think about Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity? Are you excited to play the prequel to Breath of the Wild? Let me know down in the comments below. I'll catch you all in the next video. See you tomorrow for another timeline adventure. Peace out.